Hello and welcome to Board Game Gumbo. Today we're unboxing Diceborn Heroes by Diceborn Games. This is a game for 1 to 4 players that plays in about 60 to 90 minutes. Because this is a Kickstarter version of the game, we do have a few extra pieces, but we're going to put those aside and get to them after we've unboxed the main game. So Diceborn Heroes is a bit like a dungeon delver type game. It is cooperative, except instead of using miniatures and maps and strategic movements and things like that, it uses primarily cards and dice. And here's all of our different status tokens and things. So we have damage tokens. We have some, looks like defense tokens. These are the hero special ability tokens. So your hero will have a special action that they can take or some different thing they can do that kind of breaks the rules of the game, but they can only do it once per quest. So there's a active side and then there's a depleted side because there's a way to flip it back over. Got some poison tokens here, and then finally some other tokens here at the bottom. All these punch out really well. They're nice cardboard. I like the iconography on them, so those are pretty nice. We have our main game board here, which is basically just going to tell you where all the different cards from the game go, but it's got a nice little glossary printed on here that explains what all the icons mean. And this is two-sided, or double-sided. And it appears that it's just a change in the background, but it's nice that they did it double-sided. That's just something they didn't have to do. And here we've got some extra bags, and then our dice. So your heroes are going to start with green dice. And then as they progress, they may get abilities which grant them blue or red dice. I believe they're all the same. They're all 1 through 6. It's just a matter of activating certain abilities require either red dice or green dice or blue dice. I do really like the look of these dice. The fact that they're slightly clear. I like the graphics that are on them. The numbers are big enough to read. So I like these dice. Let's see what else we got in here. We've got some ally cards. And it's just one of them. Here are our hero cards. So let's go ahead and take a look at our heroes. So the basic premise of the game is that you're going to be going through these quests. And a quest is 3 different encounters. And between each encounter, you're going to be able to go back to town to rest and maybe buy some items to help you in the next encounter and so on. The other thing you're going to do between encounters is you're going to level up. So you'll start as one of the starter characters, like a fighter, and there's a couple different ones. A fighter or a mage or a priest or a thief. And then as you go through and you complete your first quest, you'll be level 1, but then you'll progress to level 2. And when you get to the 3rd, you'll progress to level 3. So let's go ahead and take a look at our level 1 heroes. So you have a health total here at the top left. You also show what dice you start with. So the fighter starts with 2 green dice. It looks like they all start with 2 green dice. And then you have your special abilities. So that's where these tokens that I showed you earlier come in. Every hero is going to have one of these tokens, and then they can use it to activate their ability, and now it's depleted. And then if they don't get it back during the quest, then for the next quest, they'll have it back. And then over here, you have the different attacks that you can make. So on a player's turn, you're going to roll however many dice that you have access to. And then you're going to choose one ability to activate on your player card. And some of them have restrictions. So like this one, you have to activate with a 6. So hopefully you roll a 6. This one is 4+, and this one you can activate with anything. This little red symbol means that it's essentially a reaction. So this is saying that if anything does attack you, you will get a defense in response to it. The way that attacking works is kind of interesting. Enemies attack with cards that come out of a attack deck, sort of a Gloomhaven style. And the higher value cards, they will target people who only have played a die that's higher than their card. So if an enemy draws a 5 and you played a 4 here, that enemy actually won't target you. It'll only target somebody who played a 5 or a 6. So playing a very low die value, rolling a 1, is not necessarily a bad thing because you may dodge attacks from the enemies. So here's our fighter, our mage. It's got lightning, frost, and fireball. Our priest. Looks like there's 2 cards for each hero type, but they share the same attacks. And then our thief. And then once you level, you'll flip the card over and it'll show you what you can level into. So this thief can level into a monk or an archer, which is hero cards, or they can additionally get these abilities. So if they wanted to, instead of leveling, or instead of changing classes, they could add plunder to their attack sequence or hidden blade, which is kind of interesting. Let's go ahead and take a look at our thief and see what they level into, monk and archer. So we get to our level 2 cards, and you can see now we're adding blue dice. This character starts with 1 green and 1 blue die. Here's our archer. And let's find our monk. Here we go. So once you've played the thief, and assuming you make it through the first quest, you have the choice to upgrade to either the monk or the archer. And essentially what you're going to do is you're going to take your level 1 card like this. You're going to pick one of these, and then you're going to flip it over and still get this ability on the back. So say I want to play a monk, and then I can add the plunder ability to the monk as well, giving me an extra slot to put my dice. And when you have finished quest 2, you do the same thing. Flip it over, and our monk can now upgrade into a ninja or a berserker, as well as add these abilities to their attack sequence. So we'll go through here, and we'll look at our couple more level 2s here. And then finally, our level 3s. As you can see, there's quite a few options, and you get 2 upgrade pass per character. So it's a lot of replayability just in terms of characters that you might choose to play. We also had in those card set just some little cheat sheets here reminding you of how the turns work. And then on the back, a glossary, which again is on the board as well, but it's nice to have these cards to be able to hand out to people. We've got 2 more small deck of cards here. One being at least some of our monsters. The monsters you fight are going to be based on the quest you do. So when you do quest 1, you're going to be fighting tier 1 monsters. And when you do quest 2, you're going to be doing tier 2 monsters. And then your third quest is usually a boss fight. And these are mixed up a bit. So we got some allies in here, along with our monsters and some songs and a couple different things. But we got monsters for 1, 2, and 3. Monsters have health to them. This is what they do for damage. So they'll do 1 damage to 2 different targets. And this is the reward. The way the rewards work is that you have a attack deck for the monsters, And if that attack deck ever runs out, really bad things happen. So when you defeat a monster, that reward that you get is actually taking attack cards from the discard pile and putting them back into the main deck. It kind of stalls that timer that's built into the game. We've got bounties here, as well as items. They're all kind of mixed up. Bounties are essentially objectives that heroes are trying to reach. So at the start of the game, you're going to draw 2 random bounties and then choose one to keep. So this one is asking you to have no wounds at the end of a quest. And if you do, you're going to gain an additional hero token like this. And then you can spend a hero token to assign a second attack die for the rest of that quest, or actually the rest of the 3 quests together. Here are items. Items you purchase with spoils, which are essentially the monster cards. If I were to defeat this monster, I would 1, resolve this reward, and then 2, put this monster card in front of me and it becomes a spoil. So after the quest, when we go to town, you can rest and you can buy equipment. I could exchange this spoil card for this torchlight because it only requires 1 card. So items, bounties, here's our attack cards. And again, there'll be a deck of these, and these will be what the enemies draw from whenever they're deciding their attack. Each enemy will draw 1 card, and then they'll attack anybody in the hero lineup who has played a die that is that value or higher. The attack cards also have different colors. So you'll see that this one is red, this one is blue. That only applies to the boss fights. But that's how the monster attacks work. The last thing we have here, at least in the base box, is all these packets, which are our different quests. So whenever you go to play, you'll select your characters, and then you'll go through and you'll select one of these quest packs to go through. And they actually have, at the top here, you can see they have difficulty ratings on them. So let's say we want to do one of the less difficult ones, a girl and a dragon. So you just got sort of a cover card here, which explains what should be in the bag if for any reason you lose track of it. And it tells you the quest that you're going to go on. So quest 1 is going to be the town inn, a little flavor text there. Here's your objective. This green box you can accomplish during the course of the quest. You do not have to, but what it does is you have to lock one of your dice into this box, and obviously it has to be 5 or higher. Since you only start with 2 dice, that's a bit of a sacrifice, but if you do accomplish that before you finish the quest, you're going to gain this puzzle box here. Also, Satine survives if you do this, allowing you to shuffle Satine into the attack deck as a card. And that's going to give you benefits. It's probably going to like nullify an attack if it gets drawn. Satine herself does have a health value, so during the quest, she can die. And then if you complete that quest, the town inn, you'll go back to town where you have the option to rest and recover and buy equipment. And then you'll go on to the Colosseum. And then if you survive that, you'll go into the Dragon's Altar, which will have you fighting Hydralix, the draconic goddess. So here's a boss card. The boss has health, has a special setup here, and then has 2 separate attacks. And that's where the color of those attack cards come in. If you draw a red attack card, she'll do this attack. If you draw a blue attack card, she'll do this attack. She has immunities. And then some boss cards, but not this one, are actually double-sided because you have to defeat both sides of the card. Also, in the rest of the bag for that quest, we have some extra cards. So again, the Satine card, if you do save her, I should say, gets added to the attack deck, becomes an attack card. And then these extra cards here are things that may get added and may not. So these will be used during the boss fight. but these cards can actually get added into the attack deck while you're playing, depending on what you accomplish. And again, the relics you may or may not get. So a little bit of alteration to the different decks, depending on what actions you take. So the quests aren't always the same thing, which is kind of interesting. I think it's a pretty clever way of doing that. So that's everything you get if you buy the base game. And as you can see, there's quite a bit of content in here. It's eight quests just in the base game. So quite a bit to do there. Lastly, we're going to take a look at the few little Kickstarter exclusive things we got, starting with this. And these are just going to be acrylic replacements for our cardboard tokens that we had at the very beginning there. So instead of having this cardboard token, you've got this acrylic token that you punch out and use instead. And then we've got acrylic damage markers, acrylic shields. Just component upgrades, but nice ones. And then lastly, we've got a bag of extras here from the Kickstarter. One, we just got a bag for our dice, but a very nice bag with the logo on it. We got some extra baggies in general, and then we've got this box of campaign treasures. So in the back here, we got some extra hero cards, some extra quest packs. So that's all pretty cool little extra content for us to use. A little explanation of what they are. So these should be our quest cards, just from the size of them. And that must be why they gave us the extra bags, so we can put them in bags like the base game ones. Yep. So here's our extra quest cards, kind of mixed in all together, so we'll have to go through and organize those, but not a big deal. And then these should be extra hero cards. So we got some extra level 1 cards. It appears to be the same attacks and everything though. Some of these appear to be the same thing from the base game, so just extra versions of them, it looks like. Okay, and then finally our smaller cards. Extra relics, extra attack cards, extra allies. Just a little bit extra of everything. I assume some of these get used in the quest as well, so we'll have to put together those quest packs like in the base game. Well, that's it. That's everything in Diceborn Heroes. I'm going to put this all back in the box because I'm kind of curious how the organizer works, and we'll come back and show you that. So here we have the game all put back into the organizer. One of the things I'm really concerned about when I get Kickstarter games is how the game gets put back in the box, especially with all those Kickstarter extras. So I like to show what it looks like once the game's all put together. This is everything that we have, including all the Kickstarter extras, and you can see it fits easily back into the box, at least when it's not sleeved. I don't know if you're going to be able to pull off sleeving with this particular game, especially with these larger cards up front, because they are very close to the lid there for the box. But we got all our quests put back into here with plenty of room. As you can see, there's quite a bit of content now. We've got, it looks like 14 or 15 different quests now. Here are all our hero cards over here, as well as our little cheat sheet cards at the very front. And then all the small cards I put back here. There's quite a bit of room left back here, so you could probably get these sleeved if you really wanted to. or you could pull all the small cards out from the quest deck and put them in here. I just kept them with the quest cards just to make it a little easier when setting up. And then finally up here, we got our dice bag with all our dice and all our tokens. The cardboard ones you could probably get rid of if you have the acrylic, but again, I'm going to hold on to them at least for now. One thing I will mention is be sure and look underneath your organizer if you've got the when you unbox this game, because there's a little secret under there for you. And that's it. That's everything for Diceborn Heroes from Diceborn Games.